Okay, Patty, it's now 2000 hours Eastern time.
Okay.
You ready to start?
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on. Ross says it starts right at 2000 hours or
At 8 bells?
yeah, 1900 his time.
Okay.
Okay.
Listen here. Shabbat Shalom. Are we on?
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and welcome. Baruchim Habaim. Thank you for joining us for Shabbat tonight. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I might be exiting early, but I'm going to hang out as long as I can. Tonight, I've got my tea and my Kleenex, so you'll just have to kind of bear with me, but here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'kli shel Shabbat. Okay, so I'm going to say the blessing over the bread and the wine. Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzei lechem min haaretz. Blessed are you, Jehovah our God, ruler of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. How is it?
Very good.
I just wanted to notice again, because my cousin Terry is on, that this doily that we cover the challah with was made by my great-grandmother, Helen Sleva. She came from Poland, and she made this by hand. Just wanted to share that with everybody. Okay, Baruch atah Yehovah Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Blessed are you, Jehovah our God, ruler of the universe, who creates the fruit from the vine.
There's a lot of fruits from the vine, but I like this French version I have right now.
I have tea from the leaves. I don't know what you will call that.
That's okay. Well, as you know, we always start with the Shema, and I'm going to read that from, of course, the version from the Moses scroll. Hear, O Israel, Elohim, our Elohim, Elohim is one. And you shall love Elohim, your Elohim, with all your heart and with all of your soul, very exceedingly. And these words, which I am commanding you today, shall be upon your heart and taught incisively to your children. And you shall speak of them when you sit in your house and as you walk along the way, and when you lie down and when you rise. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they will be as bands between your eyes. And you shall write them on the doorframes of your house and your gates, because Elohim made a covenant with you in Oreb on the day of the assembly. What I love about that is it's in the first person of the Almighty, which I am commanding you today. All right. The next, of course, is the Sabbath, and that's where I think we can all agree. The importance of the Sabbath. It is the second commandment in the Moses scroll, but it's still roughly the same commandment. Sanctify the seventh day, and you shall cease on it, because in 6 days I made the heavens and the earth, and all that is in them. And I ceased on the seventh day. Therefore you shall also cease, you and your animal, and all that is yours. I am Elohim, your Elohim. What an understatement that is.
Mm-hmm. She was resting over here.
Yeah, she is. We have our animals resting.
No, our animals a lot.
But what I mean is that I made the heavens and the earth.
Yes.
The heavens. The more we learn from science about the heavens, the more vast and unbelievable they come, in my opinion. And those little stars that we saw, they're galaxies with 1 trillion stars in them. And you want to know how powerful this Elohim of Elohim is? El Elyon. It's pretty powerful, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go to this day in history. From November 1st, we'll go down the bottom. 539 BCE, King Cyrus the Great of Persia marches into Babylon, freeing Jewish captives and allowing them to return home. In 164 BCE, during the Maccabean revolt, Judas Maccabeus recaptures Jerusalem and rededicates the Second Temple, commemorated since as a Jewish festival of Hanukkah. And as I'm sure everyone here knows, it's not a biblical festival. It's more like celebrating 4th of July. 1179 CE, Philip II is crowned King of France. In 1180, Philip would order the arrest of all Jews living in the realm based on the charges of ritual murder. It should come as no surprise that 2 years later, in 1182, Philip confiscated all the property belonging to the Jews as he banished them from his kingdom. The Jews would seek refuge in Champagne, which was not part of France at this time. And it's a great wine they got there. It's called Champagne. By the way, any wine called Champagne that's not grown there that's incorrect. It's sparkling wine, and they're very proud of that. Of course, in 1512, if you've ever been there, he should do that. You should go. 1512, of the Common Heirs, the Sistine Chapel opens to the public, and Michelangelo unveiled his Sistine Chapel to the world for the first time. If you've ever seen it, it's just you crash. Michelangelo painted over 300 figures while he was lying on his back on a 60-foot scaffolding. The paintings and figures were based on the book of Genesis. How appropriate for our discussions. And although it have caused strained eyes and a sore back for Michelangelo, to the rest of the world, it is a masterpiece. And if you've never been there, I mean, I know you're not a Catholic, but it's just a piece of art that will, and then what's it called? The La Pieta, where
It's all just amazing.
it's just
mind-boggling.
It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And Moses with the horns, because they didn't know the Hebrew. When Moses came down from the mountain, they thought that the word that they were using instead of his countenance was changed was he had horns.
Right.
The devil giver.
Okay,
All right.
Before I go on to my Hebrew word of the day, I'd like just to make mention of y'all met my cousin Terry here. She's the doctor, she's the physician, and she just suffered through a terrible hurricane in Florida. After that, her mom broke her leg and is in the hospital. And now her dad, Paul, his name is Paul Tyler.
Yeah.
Please keep him in your prayers. He just suffered a clot in his brain and had to have surgery. He is recovering and everything, but this was quite a cluster situation for our family. And we just ask that you keep them all in prayer.
Yeah, and I'm going to, his being a Tyler has nothing to do with me. It's on Patty's side, and it wasn't actually Terry's biological
Right,
father.
right, but
it's like a dad.
Yeah, like a dad.
And so it turns out that
Better than a
Patty's aunt Elaine married a Tyler in Michigan or something.
Right, and then you found some kind of connection way back, though, right?
Yeah. A lot of the Tylers came over on a boat in 1638,
Right.
and they which makes a lot of people hate us, and they helped found the town of Andover, Mass. And Job Tyler, who was the leader, was called Crusty Job,
Yeah.
and they hated him so much he moved north of Andover and called the town North Andover.
I think Dave inherited a little bit of that crustiness. I'm not sure, just a little, maybe.
Yeah, I'm more crusty than that. I'm not a sweetheart. No.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go on with my Hebrew word of the day.
Yeah.
And this.
We're trying to kind of. We know where Ross is going tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. That's
With
what.
Noah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So the Hebrew word of the day is grace, and the Hebrew is chen, and the definition is favor, grace, and even sometimes elegance. But the Torah portion that we're reading tomorrow, the verse right before the beginning of the Torah portion is Genesis 6:8, and it says, "But Noah found grace in the eyes of Jehovah."
Yeah.
So a thing I wanted to mention on the next slide is that This is grace is commonly thought of as a Christian concept, how grace entered the world, but grace has always been there. God has always given us grace, and the Hebrew word hen appears 69 times in the Hebrew Bible, and in another place, Jehovah shows His grace to Moses in Exodus 33:17. He says, "I will do this thing also that thou hast spoken, for thou hast found grace in my sight, and I know thee by name."
Oh man.
I mean, that's real grace right there.
When
And
the Almighty tells you that.
yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
That's truly a beautiful thing.
So stay tuned. Tune in tomorrow to Ross's class and find out more about the portion Noah, and
Yeah.
he'll probably post a link at the end of this tonight, and hope to see you there. But
And
sorry, it's a little stuffy.
that's okay. You came up with her first word that she was going to use was 6 slides, and I'm like, hey, you're not up to it yet.
I've been carried away with these Hebrew words because there's so much depth and meaning to the words and everything.
Yes.
When you learn one thing, you uncover another and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
it's one of those things. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for everyone that's showing up, because it's just a Sabbath gathering. We don't have the production capabilities that Ross has, or Dr. Tabor, and they make really professional. Nehemiah Gordon, they make professional videos. We're just celebrating the Sabbath, coming in here, enjoying the end of the week and Shabbat. Understanding what that really means, and so that is all we're doing here, is just trying to share some time, let some people talk when they want to talk, and you can talk about other things that aren't necessarily biblical. I think everything in your life is biblical, even the hardships. Even if you get pulled over by the police and get a speeding ticket, God's trying to teach you something, that kind of thing. And we all have this shared love of Shabbat, and we're not near each other. I would love to go to Jackson, Louisiana, and go there every Sabbath and talk and read the Bible, and
but this is the next best thing.
It's just it's the virtual way of doing it, and we do pray for everyone here and their families, because really there's only a few of us really peeling the onion back, and
it really is a remnant when you look at it. It's a remnant,
and we all have different opinions. And that's a great thing. I laughed on the Torah Pearls last night. Some of the comments that Ross and Jono answered were hilarious. People are just so mean.
I know.
And
I'm thankful that we don't get any feedback like that. I'd be up here crying.
And for me, listen, I might disagree with you, but I'm not gonna argue and look down at you, because
especially puts together a presentation,
right,
and a carefully thought out and researched topic. You might not agree with it, but you don't want to insult them and their intelligence.
And one of my side complaints, which I'll share with you people, is that sometimes when Ross is teaching and people get into these orthogonal, I'm sorry, I'm a mathematician, 90-degree orthogonal, 90-degree vector from what Ross is teaching. It's, Betty and I have talked about this. It's just, hey, let's hear Ross out. And if you got that great subject, which you might, I'm not saying you're not, go make your own, presentation and give it to us.
Well, I thought about disabling the chat lately, because it has become kind of distracting.
We though have to,
we try to monitor it a little.
Yeah, we have to monitor it, because there's bad people.
And also, there are some really good comments that are relative to the teaching, so we like to see those too.
And in the end, is Seth will come in once in a while and say, the Zoom afterwards.
He gives him a timeout.
Yeah. Well, some of them he need. Yeah. But a Zoom chat afterwards, if you want to bring something up, Ross is always willing to take it on. I want Ross to go on Joe Rogan and not have any idea what Joe's going to ask him. I, of course, would give Joe Rogan the questions, Ross, and then I think
it would be awesome.
It would be. It would be stunning. But one person said that Jono and Ross, I didn't see this, but they said Jono and Ross don't know what they're two idiots talking about the Bible or something. And I go,
I know, what an insult.
I don't think that Ross ever talks without using a verse.
You know, but the good thing is that Ross, they're able to talk about it and take it lightly and
Amen.
talk about it
Yeah.
because
The thick skin you got to have to be
Yeah,
in the teaching.
So how today, does anyone want to get up and talk about their week or
Yeah.
what's going on?
We really don't have anything else to say because it's been a long week for us too.
Yes.
We're not complaining. We're grateful, but
Yeah, we're very
a lot of
grateful.
14, 15-hour days and a lot of brain work and
Right.
we'll give you a heads up. We will be having a Shabbat welcome next week, but it will be from San Diego, California, from the hotel we're staying at. We have a lot of work to do out there in San Diego, and we're going to see our son and his fiance. So that's great.
And maybe get a little warm weather.
Yeah. Do you have a picture of Jeremy's costume, his Halloween costume? You got to see this. Because he dressed up as Jelly Roll, and I think he could have went around and got autographs. He looked exactly like Jelly
All
Roll.
right, I'll try to find how this is Halloween. We don't celebrate, but I make a joke that we pass out candy to all the little pagans.
Yeah. All the
That's just a
pagans,
joke. That's just a joke.
the little pagans come, and that was a beautiful thing.
But they're all beautiful kids. We love seeing them.
Yeah. Oh, and Karen says Jonah and Ross on JRE debating Tofia. Yeah, I would love that. I'd love that. Okay.
Picture.
Yeah.
Iris
Yeah.
Maldonado says, "Can I ask about something about the Israel, also known as the Northern Kingdom?"
Sure.
So yeah, sure, please do. Iris, if you're not on Discord, you can just type it here on YouTube and we'll.
Yeah, anyone can get up and talk about anything. That's the way we are. We're just wide open, and I don't need your questions before you call. I'm I'm just open to answering it, and I might refer to phone a friend as Ross.
Okay,
If it's on the Torah, I'll ask Ross. If it's on Jesus, I'll call James.
I call him Jeremy Roll.
Jeremy Roll. Yeah, those aren't real tattoos, by the way. Anyways,
No, they're not real.
he looked like it was just the sweetest thing. Because I identify with Jelly Roll.
So they're not drinking, they don't eat candies. They said, well, what do we do now?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not much to do with that holiday anymore.
I love Jelly Roll's song, I Am Not Okay.
Yeah.
That song to me it speaks to my soul.
He lost weight though.
100 pounds.
100 pounds. Yeah. That's good for him.
Yeah, Jeremy needs to lose 100 pounds. Did you get her to the bone?
Yes.
She looks like she's done with the bone. We have a husky staring at us through the doors.
A wild grizzly bear outside that we have to keep throwing food at, so she's quiet.
Yeah.
And she's gotten to know the routine on Sabbath. We're getting ready, and she's like, "I'm going to get my treat now."
And she knows there's a little challah here, and she wants to eat that.
She wants to break bread with us, but boy.
But dogs,
Okay.
Dogs aren't. Bread is not good for dogs.
No. Okay.
Is there any more questions? Did she ask that question? Because I would like to try to answer it. We could get Ross up here. He probably doesn't.
He might know she asked it. That's a joke. Ross might know the question before she asked it.
Yeah. It was probably sent to Ross. So
you know how to, know the dream before.
Right.
Nebuchadnezzar told them.
No. That was a good thing. I feel.
Joseph, I think it was.
Yeah. Joseph.
Know the dream, know Pharaoh's dream before he even said it.
Well, that's because then you really know that you're a prophet.
Exactly.
Because I could tell a dream to somebody and they could say, well, here's my interpretation.
Okay, so I received your question. Okay. So it says, if the house of Israel was made an end of when Assyria took them exiled, why does Ezekiel speak about the house of Israel?
Because they're going to be brought back.
Right, because they were scattered.
They were scattered.
With their prophecy to return.
Right.
There's a lot of prophecies out there.
Yeah.
Right now, I believe Judah and Benjamin are the only two tribes in Israel right now.
Yeah.
With some Levites maybe.
Uh-huh.
And the house of Israel has lost their identity.
Yes.
But it's prophecy that they're going to remember them in all the places they've been scattered.
Yeah.
And they're going to return to Israel.
Yeah.
When it's appointed time.
That's the thing. There's a lot of prophecies, and sometimes they'll use the term on Judah and Joseph, and there's
Ephraim,
Jeremiah,
Ephraim and Manasseh.
Jeremiah 30:31. I'm not good at ripping out all these things, even though I've read them 100 times.
I know.
I just want to let you know that there's a lot there.
Right.
And
I think the remembering is coming about now.
Right.
The people are turning to the Torah and
coming back.
Yeah.
They don't even know why. It's like close encounters. It's like close encounters of the third kind. Because is it the third kind? Yeah, where they don't know why they're going to this. I would also say some other things. There's a lot of theories which I don't believe in, like the English Israeli theory and all that. I think the tribes were scattered everywhere, and there's a lot of evidence. Simcha Jakubowicz did a great the series on this. I wanted to say that United Israel World Union was also put together to bring the lost tribes back to Judah. That was one of David Horowitz's ideas. In fact, Ronnie Fulcher gave me a hat, and it says something like "In Search of the Lost Tribes," and as Michael G said, that the two sticks prophecy. Ross had a talk where he had two sticks he put together, this is my personal. I've been studying this a long time. It was since 72-ish. And here's what I'm going to say. I'll get you up, Nikita, in just a second. I think a lot of Christians are parts of the lost tribes. And there's resounding elements of the Torah in Jesus's original teachings, number one. And it gets them thinking about it. It got me thinking about it. And my point is that Ross did a great video following Jesus out of Christianity or something of that nature. I just wanted to say that. It's a great talk. And I'm going to get Nikita up here to see what she wants to say. We're putting her up here. Shabbat Shalom, Nikita.
Shabbat Shalom and greetings to the congregation of the Most High. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Amen. And thank you for reading last week.
Oh, it was my honor and pleasure to do so. It was great. I loved it. We should do more of it.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing some other ones where we would all just, read a portion of the Bible. And, if you guys want to throw up some ideas of what you would like to read, it has to be like a 20-minute at the most read. And then we would just, kind of talk about it. But as Dr. Tabor said, and Ross, and we have all talked, it's probably been a couple of millennia since that exact that version was read like we read. So it was kind of historical in a way. But anyways, what was on your mind this evening, Nikita?
Just wanted to share something with the congregation. Genesis is, I love Genesis. If I could only save one chapter, it would be Genesis and then Deuteronomy. But I was going over some of my old studies.
Yeah.
And there was one, the 10 Commandments of Creation.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to share the first commandment and how it reflects creation with the congregation, if I may.
Sure.
The study says, I am the Lord thy God. And it correlates to, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Yeah.
The summary is the introduction of introductions. The very words cut all falsehoods with decisiveness. Oh, what majesty, glory, and power. He is the He. He is I, not we. He is one, not three. He is
Right.
singular, not many.
Right.
He is the logic who possesses reason. He
Amen.
he is the eternal who's outside of time. He
Amen.
is the complexity of thought who is every moment of clarity. He is
Wow.
more than can be conceived, who excels any want or need. He gave my first inhale and will receive my last sigh. He
Oh.
is my beloved, enduring strength and soundness of mind. He is the Most High.
Amen.
And that's
Oh,
it. I
that's
just wanted
beautiful.
to share that with the congregation
Hey,
because it
you
gave me so much joy.
you were leaving Christianity after you came to those conclusions.
Yeah, had to. It was
Yeah.
because anything that's solid is stronger than anything divided.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It was. I can tell you this, a beautiful thing, and how you came up with that. I mean, how we all came to these, these ideas. So many different paths that people took, and having to get away from their uh, religious organizations, because and I'm sure a lot of y'all lost your you lost your families, or some of the people, your friends, said, what the hell, you don't celebrate Christmas and all that. And I don't. I mean, I haven't celebrated Christmas since I was 16 years old, and I'm 65, but and I don't put people down that do. Don't, if anyone's here that does, don't you worry about it. But I'm just saying, to go over to the biblical holy days and Shabbat, which confuses people, and you want to go do this stuff on Shabbat? No, I don't want to go do that stuff on Shabbat.
This is what we want to do on Shabbat.
Right. And
Love you.
we're very grateful that we have someone like Ross that we can at least read and
Yes.
have a good feeling about what is being taught, because a lot of these people teach amiss. They teach the religion of men and not of the Bible. And I think that that's an important thing that all of us were after. And I'm grateful that Ross, when he lost his job at the paper mill, he decided to just take a shot at this. And, we try to support him the best we can, because there isn't anyone else doing it at this level here on the Torah level. And people like Jono that just come in, and all the great people that we've had talk throughout the years. There's a lot of greatness that happens, and friendships and love towards one another, and help. By the way, today we were part of a food drive for the pets in North Carolina, just to let you know.
I have to
And-
tell the buns about that. We
Yeah.
are sending some dog and cat food to
Yeah.
Asheville, North Carolina,
Yeah.
for the pets that are all suffering there
Yeah,
too.
so we did that as a community, which Patty and I had nothing to do with. We just gave to it.
Yeah.
We just brought food to it. But it's when we do those things that maybe the Almighty just has a feeling like there is something good in these people.
right.
And he didn't have to beg. All right, Nikita, I'm going to invite Elishiva Betty to speak. Thank you for coming on, Miss Nikita.
Thank you for having me. And the lesson, I will post it in the dialogue. I just want to go through
Please.
and make sure I do some editing. So
All right.
I'll see you later. Love y'all.
Love y'all. Shabbat shalom. And now we have Sister Betty, and then Brother Ronnie. You got the mute on there, Betty.
That's a different icon for
Okay.
Hey, there we
I'm
are,
here.
Betty. Shabbat shalom.
Yay, shalom, shalom. You know what? I think my friend Ronnie had his hand up before I did.
Okay.
So if Ronnie would like to go ahead and go, it's fine with me.
Okay. In the chat, yours was up first, or I wouldn't cut Ronnie off like
Oh.
that.
Well, okay. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter to me. I just,
Okay. But are you saying you were planning on talking for like a half an hour or something, or?
oh, no, maybe 3 minutes at the most.
Go ahead. I think Mr. Fulcher can wait.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Well, it's good to be here and good to see all of the faces that I can see.
Shabbat
I
shalom.
can't figure out how to get my video on, so y'all just
That's
have
okay.
to imagine. It really
We
is
can
me.
imagine you. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say Shabbat Shalom, and it is either near the beginning or coming to the beginning of the 8th month on
Right.
the
Yeah.
biblical calendar, and according to the Jewish calendar, it's called Cheshvan, which to me, if you take the word Cheshvan and you stretch it out like Heshvan, do you hear
Mm.
the like the sh, like,
Yeah.
hey y'all, it's time to settle down and be quiet. We've just gone through a whole rash of high holidays and it's been beautiful. And now it's time to be still and know
Yeah.
that I'm
Sure.
God. And
Sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to read from Devarim 30, because
Yeah.
you all were talking about
Yes.
the lost tribes and how they're all scattered, and some are probably in Christian churches, and all of a sudden people just wake up and say, I'm feeling something in my heart, or I'm knowing
Mm.
something in my mind.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's exactly what Deuteronomy 30 says, and I think it's beautiful. I just want to read a few verses.
Okay. No, please.
It says, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among the nations into which
Yeah.
which Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, it says, your God, your Elohim,
Yeah.
has driven you, and you shall return to Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, your God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command you this day, you and your children with all your heart, with all your soul, and then Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, your God, will turn the captivity, your captivity, and have compassion.
Mm.
And that word is probably chesed. I need to look it up.
Yeah.
Have compassion upon you, and will return and gather you from all the nations amongst where he has scattered you. If your outcast be at the utmost parts of heaven, from there will Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, your God, gather you, and from there he will fetch you. I love that. He's going to fetch us.
Yeah.
And Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, your God, will bring you into the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And he will do you good and multiply you more than your fathers. And then it says that he'll circumcise your heart, so that you will love him with all your heart and all your soul, that you may
Amen.
live.
Mm.
I mean,
Amen.
I love that. I just have to say an amen to my own reading. I know we don't normally say amen to what we say, but that's one of my most favorite passages, and I return to it often. So
That's
Betty, Charles Sutton noticed that you're answering Iris's question.
yeah.
It kind of in a nutshell.
In a way, yeah.
Explained about that.
oh yeah, well that's what first brought it to mind, and then somebody, I guess Dave, and then you mentioned something about people, in even Christian churches and whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I just
They're
think
being
people are
called
waking
out.
up.
They're being called out
Yeah.
of the wilderness, and that's a beautiful thing, because they come to the truth. And it, as we've spoken, you start getting the man-made stuff again. When you first start reading the Torah, because people try to tell you, all these things, and
Right.
and David Horowitz didn't like that. And as your brother James said, they'd be flying to Israel together on a plane, and David Horowitz would go up to them when they're all, the ultra Orthodox are praying, and he says, "You don't need to do that."
Oh,
and, and he was from an Orthodox Jewish family, so but he would just let him have it. I would never say that, but I'm just saying, it's funny when you get to it, what happens. And like I said, I'm very grateful that David Horowitz decided to make United Israel World Union, because it's a place to study the Hebrew Bible. And, there's a lot of different people that come and study the Hebrew Bible at United Israel World Union.
It seems like there's somebody new every week. We see new
Right.
people,
Right.
faces,
And we've met different people over the years at the annual meetings.
yes.
Just, have been friends like Ronnie Fulcher, been friends ever since. Timothy Thompson, of course, Ross and James. I don't want to say begged us, but kind of begged us to come for like 5 years. And
Not beg. No, he just asked us.
he put pressure on us, Patty.
No.
He did. He's good at putting, he's persuasive. He's very persuasive. And finally we go, okay, we'll go down and see what this is about. We were non-joiners, yeah. We went to so many churches in California and cults. We could write books about them. I won't, but I'm just saying. And we're like, you know what? We can never join anything because there's just the Bible in us. And then thank God we met all the people that are in this chat tonight, in this
Exactly.
Discord. It's all these great people. And no, we don't have the same view, but we came from very different places, and we're trying to find that truth. And I'll never stop searching. Einstein said, when you stop learning, you stop living. And the day he died, his desk was full of all these things about the final theory of everything. And I'm just saying, you never stop learning. It's a great thing.
Don't ever stop learning.
The Proverbs say a lot about that.
No, I just wanted to say something about, I think you mentioned the call to your heart or something. I know James calls it a clarion call.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful. It's pure, it's holy, it's there.
Yeah.
There's no denying it. I love this, the part I read where it says he's going to fetch us. Well, he fetched me, he fetched my heart, and there was no turning back then.
Yeah.
And I think
And
all of you that are on here could probably say the same thing.
So in one form or another, David Connolly's on, and he actually moved to Israel and is now a citizen, and I think he's even got his driver's license now. And
Oh, that's scary.
He said to me one of the things to me that he didn't want to do is deal with Christmas anymore.
Oh, funny.
And of course, you don't want to go to Jerusalem during Christmas time because it's very Christmassy there.
I'm sure
but anyways,
it is.
I'm going to bring up
thank you.
Brother Ronnie.
Yes.
I love you. Shabbat
Thank you.
Shalom.
I love you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Shabbat Shalom.
We got our brother Ronnie Fulcher. Hey, Ronnie.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, gang. How y'all doing?
How are things in Mississippi?
We got some rain yesterday, so I'm happy.
Oh,
It's been good. I just want to kind of go along with what everybody else has said, but especially what Miss Betty said about the fetching, because I remember when I was a kid, they would fetch us in, they would grab us and bring us inside the house,
yeah.
and you get in here, and I would call it fetching us in. Well, you think about the people even during the time of Jesus. They had read a lot of the stuff about the prophets. They knew about the tribes.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm not lifting up Jesus, but if in the book of Matthew, if he said he came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, he knew the prophets.
Oh, he did. Absolutely.
No doubt. Now, I know, people say today, well, these people are Israelites. I don't have a clue. I don't have a way of understanding exactly who they are. But Miss Betty, it's like if God's fetching us back, he knows who they are.
Yeah.
And I think United Israel is a gateway for people to help them, because these people are coming out, David, and they don't have a clue.
No.
Well, they don't. Well, what do I do? And we're still formulating what we need to do, but we can help them more because we're in a position to help. I wasn't in a position 20 years ago to help anybody. I was trying to figure it out for myself.
Yeah.
But now we have the knowledge. We have more people coming into this.
Yeah.
And so we're like a vanguard going out there and helping these people that are looking.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Ross came up with an idea. I don't think we ever followed through with it. The Old Testament church.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
And then there was the synagogue without walls, and there's roots of faith. A lot of it started, the Hebrew roots movement started in like the late 80s and early 90s. It was a big thing for people to go back and look at the historical Jesus. And I read all those books, and I mean, you can see some of them up here. There's the Passover Plot, if you have ever read that,
Yeah.
by Hugh Field. I mean, all these books, and James in the Jesus Dynasty really put it in a political way. That this was a political movement also, and that was part of it, And like I like to say, everyone tries to look back at these, people in the Bible and think that it was all, perfect sunshine and rainbows, to quote Rocky Sylvester Stallone. And look at David's house. The kids were murdering each other. There was people raped. There was people, always trying to usurp his power. I mean, it was never some sort of, ideal utopia that people somehow come out to think that they can have. That won't happen until, as in the book of Zechariah in the 14th chapter, the Yud He Vav He comes back, and when that happens, then I believe the things will change. But until then, we're gonna die. We're gonna be in wars. We're gonna have illnesses. There are gonna be all these bad things to happen. And certainly, the last time I saw a lion, he'd have to change his teeth and his whole way from him not being, if he's going to eat straw, because I know what straw eaters are like, and they ain't like no darn lion. And I believe they were designed that way. That why is the gazelle so fast? Because the cheetah runs 70 miles an hour. And it's all part of this balance that he has. My point is that I do believe there'll be a transformation, but I don't think it's now. That's my own personal opinion. You could have different opinions. I try to live the best life I can and do what's right. And you don't always know what's right because there's so many layers of, who knows what,
Gray areas
in all of life. And as Betty was saying, I think it goes back to what's in your heart. What's in your heart is the way. And how do you get that heart right? Well, the 10 Commandments is a good place to start. And, reading this book and discerning it. And I love the book of Proverbs. As a matter of fact, I was thinking maybe we could read one of the chapters of Proverbs. I like the first, I like them all, but I mean, like the first, 10 are just amazing books of wisdom. And maybe that's something we could do. And like I said, keeping an open mind, the Psalms, taking care of people, you think you can give money and do this and that, but when you actually go help somebody, it really is, it's a hands-on thing, and it's an eye opener that, a lot of people think the way they think is why they're in the position they're in. And that's why wisdom is an important thing, and if you search for and get wisdom, the rest will come. Anyways, how have things been, Ronnie? Are you still working for that other company?
Yeah, I'm still working a little bit. But let me say this. Miss Patty said something earlier, she's talking about the remnant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The starting of this, it's who's to say we're not the remnant that is perpetuating this stuff? And David, I will use a text from, quote, the New Testament, the New Writings, whatever. Said, you'll know the truth and the truth shall make you free. It's a perpetuation. I mean, we keep evolving and getting better. I was talking to Lee Stoll, I think, today. We were talking about we get better with time as we apply the Ten Commandments and the teachings to our lives until we evolve into something different. I mean, I don't think we sin every day. If we're keeping the 10, how can we be sinning every day? And that's a fallacy that was perpetuated by man. But it seems like we are getting better.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Ronnie.
Wow.
The door.
We have a wild husky from Siberia. And your family's okay, Ronnie?
Yep, as far as I know, everybody that I've talked to lately, everybody's doing great. Thank you.
No,
Yep.
I remember when you came up when our son died and you drove all the way up from Mississippi, and I'll never forget that. That you just came up here to be near us, and it was a very difficult time. The concept of losing your child, and he was 34. That is just such a course changing thing, and I don't even know how to explain it, and I just hope no one ever has to deal with that. But I remember you came all the way up, and maybe I didn't say it that day because I was just out of sorts. Ross came, Dr. Tabor and his wife came. It was truly great to have you all here and supporting, because it does matter. The tribe does matter. That Ross and Dr. Tabor gave good talks at the celebration of life. It was something. It was hard for my parents, really hard for my parents, too. They were old. But when my parents died, it was like a natural thing. They were 90 and it was their time. And I was happy that they didn't suffer, So,
Right.
but I do want to thank you for coming. And I'll never forget that as long as I live, Ronnie, that you drove that Chevy truck, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was a long drive. I mean, I drove to Charlotte about 10 times, and that's 13 hours, and that's the end of my limit. I like those things called airplanes, but we were just bringing everybody down. So, anyways,
But let me say this. It was like
Yeah.
Daddy said a while ago, sometimes when
Yeah.
the heartstrings talk, you got to listen.
yeah,
You just got to
Yeah.
do it, And so
Yeah.
we just give the thanks to God for everything that's happened and
amen.
get up and go
Amen.
again, Oh, by the way, that
Yeah.
hat said, "Looking for the lost tribes."
Oh, that's what I still have. It's in my office, and people are like, "Are you on another archaeological dig, Dave?" Well, now it's like looking for the lost scrolls. My new one.
Yeah. Well, David Horowitz had that hat. I've got a picture of him wearing that hat in his
Oh.
apartment, a long time
Yeah.
ago.
God bless them. Well, thank you for. All right, we're going to invite Eric John Nagel up. I don't know if he likes going by Eric John, or was that what his parents called?
He said EJ.
EJ. I didn't know that.
That's Father Eric.
Oh, EJ.
Hey,
Hello.
EJ.
Good evening, EJ. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Yeah, EJ was one of my dad's nicknames. EJ was another. But like I told Patty, the EJ came about because in, I don't know, fifth, fourth grade, somewhere in there was another Eric in
Yeah.
my class. So
Yeah.
I defaulted to what my dad called me because I think the teacher asked us what our nickname was or something like that.
Yeah.
But speaking of interesting ponderings of being the lost tribe, which I've always considered myself, at least the generic Ephraim or whatever you want to use as a general term. Last year, a friend of mine who had read a couple of my dad's books, I lent them to him. He asked if he had anything else, so I let him read, which is basically a history of my family.
Yeah.
Called German Migration to Missouri. From Germany. And a fascinating little book, especially if you're German or interested in how people came to this country.
Yeah.
But I had read it probably twice, talked about it, looked stuff up in it. But this friend said, "Eric, did you see where the first Nagel was?" I said, "No, not that I remember." Anyway, he came from a dynasty somewhere in the 1500s. Wait a minute, let me look at this again. No, from the 1100s.
Mm-hmm.
He was part of a dynasty of a German word that was something like Hohenstaufen.
Mm.
And big, they led all of it. Now, this is before Christianity had really taken over
Yeah, yeah.
in the Germanic area.
The Germanic
And
tribe.
this guy decided he was fed up with politics and all that. He changed his name to Nagel,
Oh,
which in one of its old meanings means immovable.
oh.
Well, it referenced something in here about the Hessen-Darmstadt area,
Mm-hmm.
and it also has what was called the Kati tribe,
Mm.
and that was in 30 BC.
Wow.
Okay, and it's spelled Chatti.
Oh,
Well, let me look that up, and if you can believe somewhat of what Wikipedia says, the
yeah.
Kati tribe has several spellings, but is claimed to descend from the Phoenician traders and
Ah.
possibly the tribe of Gad.
Oh, yeah. The Gadites, they really got around.
Yes, they did. And the symbol that I found, and I can't remember if I've got it somewhere, I'll have to look for it, is a
Okay.
picture of a cat, maybe even stretching it to a more of a big cat, not just a house cat. And it
Mhm.
has the letter Shin on it.
Oh my God.
So I'm thinking, well, that's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
Sorry.
that's about as
Oh,
far as my research has gone, except that these people left Germany and went to Scotland,
Yeah.
which of course is one of the saviors of the scriptures as far as the modern uh, Bible and stuff is, if I'm not mistaken. Because of some of the, uh, if I remember the story, the monks saved the scriptures because of the Reformation and all kinds of different things. But
Yeah.
it's really cool, and all this came right to my face because a friend read the book.
Yeah.
Well, 10 years after my dad passed, and we'd gone over it. It was all family lore and this, that, and the other. That, of course, there's
Yeah.
even more than that. So it's
Yeah.
really interesting, and I don't see just personally any other reason that I would be drawn the way I am, except it's in my DNA, and I am from Israel, and as far as I'm concerned, my hometown would be Itamar.
Oh,
oh, wow. That
yeah.
is so cool.
That's amazing.
A lot of heraldry has Hebrew symbolism.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's what happened with Anglo-Israelism.
Yeah, they went a little
Yeah.
too far. with that.
They went a little too far, but there's a lot of symbolism in biblical symbolism from the tribes in the heraldry of certainly
Right.
of the royalty of England, but even in the Tyler do we have it around here?
I'll find it.
The Tyler symbol crest. You can tell it's very it's very oriented towards that, and that's not proof. I'm not saying it is. I think it's like I say, we're drawn to this book and the Decalogue, and as I was reading, the Shema, when we first start all the time, it's in the first person. The Almighty Creator, El Elyon, the Most High, is telling us, here's how you live. I created everything, and here's how you live.
Yeah.
If we could just stick to the 10, as Ross would say, this world would be a really great place. And from that perspective, you didn't have to go get that, honey.
Well, I just show some of the symbolism, the crouching lions.
Yeah,
And
and the Tyler one, if you can see it, there's two crouching lions, which is representative of Judah. Now the Queen has three crouching lions, just like that's there, and then Patty has that old pagan Christian cross on hers with the two. we're only having fun. We're only having fun. Martins are
I
all
wish
over
I
the
had.
world.
Yeah, I wish I had more I could go back to, but our family record in now I can't remember which year, but the first documented Conrad Nagel was from 1560 or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can go back to several hundred years before that, I think, with some of the history of the area, but
Yeah.
all the records before that,
Yeah.
or maybe around 1500, are
Yeah.
gone because there was an earthquake and the castle burned down. And the castle had the church, and that was the only records that were kept in those days.
The Most High knows. He kept a record. Most High has a
Yeah.
record.
I've been petitioning people that I know in Israel just to say,
Yeah.
hey, what's wrong with this discrimination? You won't
Right.
let a Torah loving person
Gadite in.
ready to sacrifice himself for the state of Israel because
Yeah.
of your, what's going on with this man-made stuff. I
Yeah.
haven't had
Here's
an answer
first
yet.
segment on the tribes. Yeah, you're Davidi. How do you say his
Yeah.
name?
You're Davidi.
Anyone else read that?
It's called The Tribes, the Israelite Origins of Western Peoples.
There you go.
That was the first book I think I read on
Yeah.
the tribes, other than Herbert W. Armstrong's history of
Yeah.
what was it? America
Yeah.
and
American Great Britain and Prophecy.
prophecy. Yeah.
And then Allen, J.H. Allen, Judas Scepter, and Joseph's Birthright. You better remember where these are being taken away from because. Yeah. Then there's another one by George McCran, The Lost Tribes of Israel. We read a lot more than this, though. There's a lot of books. One of the things about reading all these books, you don't agree with everything, but you gain a little bit out of each book. And I'm sorry, I'm old school, but I like to read an actual book, and I like to read it myself. I do listen to books, but it's not the same as reading it and having to think. That word is scepter, and there's this thing that happens when you recognize the word and maybe it's because I was brought up old school. I don't know, but we focus on reading, writing, and arithmetic, so that's the way I learned the best.
When you have a librarian as a mother and a father who's a historian, books are kind of there.
Yeah, you can't get away from that. And another thing is, I would never mark in books because it was told to me never do that. And a lot of she'll defile a book in minutes. But I mean, like I see these Bible people and they got it all underlined, and it's just not me. I just feel like it's a violation of the page. It's a personal feeling, nothing against anyone who does it. My books are well thumbed, and I've gone through them, but they're not written on. I have notebooks.
Well, I agree with that if you have a library and you want someone else to read it. But if it's something I'm studying,
books that I have bought used will have writing in them, but it's not me. And Julia says, "Boy, do I love libraries." One of the things I was going to say to you about that is that when I go to these other cities, I go to some of these big libraries, and I went to the Vatican Library, and it's just stunning to see that it's beyond. You could read 12 hours a day for every day of your life, and you will never get to anywhere near how many books there are. So I guess that something will happen. But anyways, I do appreciate that, and I'm going to bring up Karen, right? Thank you.
Thank you, EJ.
Is it Karen, right? It's Karen, right? I get named. The Oregon Freebird is Karen. Oh, it's Karen. Yeah. Hi, Karen.
Hi. Hello.
Hey, Oregon.
Yeah, I used to be fascinated with the looking for the tribes and everything.
Oh yeah.
And I reading in Jeremiah, there's this obscure verse that I've heard a lot of commentators say all different kinds of things about. I can't remember the reference, but it's in that day a woman will court a man. Have you heard that one?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
and they'll say all these, but if you look at, in context of what he's talking about Israel as the woman, and he is the husband, and that's kind of what they're what it kind of leads up to.
Okay.
And I see it more like, in that day, I'm not going to come looking for them. They're going to come looking for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's the truth. That's what happened to us. We didn't know we were even looking for that, for the Almighty, in the sense we were just trying to understand, one of the things that really thought is, what religion do we bring our children up in? And everyone around here is a lot of Catholics, so they go to First Communion and then confirmation and blah blah blah, and it's like, and then not having Christmas, that's the tough one when you have a 7 and 8 year old in school, and trying to explain, because there aren't any Jews, or there were delicatessen Jews here, but yeah. I did read that, and there was another pretty brilliant man that we used to know, Dr. Tabor, and he said something.
Not Ernest Martin.
No. There was no one. Let's just drop all those names. No, I met him on an airplane, and he read me a verse, maybe in Isaiah, that he said this cut out all the lost tribes, and I tried understanding what he was saying, but there are people who think that because of their apostasy, they cut out all of the lost
But
tribes.
then there's a verse that says, if heaven and earth shall pass away, then I shall cut off the nation.
And what's the 2 sticks prophecy? What's the 2 sticks prophecy?
Yeah,
And let's put in Jeremiah 31:22.
Yeah, thank you, Ross.
I mean, those things are powerful, that they'll come seeking you, and like I said, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and they didn't know why they're going to this place in the desert, and I didn't either. I have a much better feeling now, and I can't say that I belong to any tribe, or there's some Jewish history in my family, okay, and that's understandable, but I think it's who we are. Like, we just read the book and it makes sense to us that way, and we gravitate towards it, like, and there's a lot of good people like you doing all this study in the Babylonian and other texts and other religions. There's a lot in cuneiform that, if I guess they now have a AI program that's translating all of it, because there's so much that's never been translated, and trying to make sense of it. That would be, more of it's going to be revealed as we go forward.
It's such a cool topic, though. It's so fascinating. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But Isaiah says they'll spring up like poplars along the river, and they'll write my name on their hand.
Yeah.
And, they're individuals. They're not, you're not looking for a group of people.
No.
True.
Our family disowned us, religiously, when we.
Not our immediate family.
No, but I'm talking about my family mainly. All the Tylers were like, "You're not going to celebrate Christmas," and I was 16 years old, and all these boys from the great grandfather, 50 children, 48 boys. So, and one uncle had 5 boys before he gave up, but the woman had a woman. But the point is that they're like disowned us and thought we were part of some cult. And I'm sure you all have gotten that, and worse, maybe, and after a while,
some sort of organization, which we clearly don't have.
Yeah. Well, someone recently, and a couple of years ago, said that we were members of a cult, and they don't. Let me say this: if we go back to the Latin word cult, agriculture, care of the ground, cultivate, and they called David's religion the cult of Yahweh. So cult didn't have a bad connotation till people like David Koresh and Charles Manson and all these whacked out people, Jim Jones. That's a misuse of the word cult. It has a bad meaning now, and so we've ruined the word. And so the point being that cults can be good. But it has this horrible meaning. And I took 4 years of Latin, so I really hate it when people misuse the words like IE and EG and EX. They will mix those up all the time. And, but again, it's they don't teach kids cursive anymore in school other than to sign their name. So
why would they know Latin?
why would they know that?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think this a big draw to Catholicism lately. I don't know if you've noticed it.
There's been what?
A big draw to Catholicism.
Is there?
Really?
I didn't know.
I know, as some people I grew up with, they're converting to Catholicism, and I just can't figure out why. But I think it's the ritual. Ritual brings people together, and
Right.
Catholicism is like one of the most ritualistic forms of Christianity out there, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it does. I mean, ritual does bring people together.
Right. No, and when you go, when I went, I was just near the Vatican, and it's so holy looking and impressive. I mean, if you've never been to the Vatican or to Notre Dame or to St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York, it's impressive. Certainly a lot more impressive than Ross's Jackson, place, but that's not why we go there. It's because of what's being said. But when you get 5,000 people in a building and it's dwarfing them, and it was made, I don't know, when was the Vatican made? In the 1200s or something like that? I mean, it's like 1,000 years or 800 years ago. And you look
It's all inspiring, and that's the whole point.
Yeah, it's to inspire you, not to. Ross is worried. No, your Jackson facility looks great, but I mean,
But the synagogues were so opposite. They were very plain.
not all of them. I've been with the one in Jerusalem. Come on.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not, but it's not the Vatican. I get it's not St. Peter's. No,
Right.
I get that. And then the side artwork by Raphael and Da Vinci and Michelangelo. These are just happen to be in the hallway.
Oh my gosh, I know.
And it's like that stuff is amazing. I was stunned at the picture of Jesus being lifted up called the Ascension, and it's done by I think Raphael, and you stand like 15 feet from it and you're like, it's amazing. Doesn't mean that they're teaching any truth.
No.
And so my point at the end of the day is that it's this this feeling that we have and this draw, and I don't know, the Almighty I believe knows what makes some people go out there and leave their families and the Nazarene said what? I haven't read the Nazarene in more than a decade, but it's something like I did not come to bring peace but a sword. And that's what happened to us. We got the darn swords, and we started cutting everything off, and people got over it, but I lost friends for my life. I mean, they will never talk to me again, and over the 30 and 40 years that we've been doing this, and it was, as and as Ronnie was just saying, it takes time to figure out even what you're trying to do, and you can't give them a definitive answer, and that bothers a lot of people. They have what they call the tenets of their faith. Well, go to our website, Southern Baptist of Rome, New York.org, and it'll tell you, here's our tenets. And if you don't believe this, don't bother coming.
My sister and I wanted to move to Spokane, Washington one time because we had been following this Messianic pastor from a church there, and we just, thought he was the end all be all, and we wanted to go and be part of the church and da 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 da.
Yeah.
But then, a few months later, Tovia Singer got to us, and we realized, oh, wait a minute, no man God, lamb God, can't do that.
Yeah.
And so it was like constantly changing, and even now we don't agree on things. But we've learned through this whole thing to have respect for other people on their path, which is maybe at a different place than ours.
Yes, absolutely a good story. And I was just going to say about the lamb thing. You know, our current direction, Ross is teaching, but a lot of other people were studying this too, like Dr. Tabor and us. If the sacrifices were priestly inventions, that really shoots down the Jesus myth. Not the authentic Jesus, but the fact that he had to die, the holy Lamb of God. And isn't it supposed to be a goat anyways? But that's another story. You know, if that's the case, that really shoots down Christianity. That no one needs to die for your sins. And I certainly always believe that how can Jesus dying pave any way for me? Just from the biblical accounts, please, you know. And if there's Christians listening, I'm not trying to offend anybody. It's just I've never felt that the whole blood thing always seemed a little creepy to me.
What?
The blood, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I met a friend, evangelical Christian, came by. He has his King James in his car, and he says, "You know what I got right here, Dave?" I go, "What?" He goes, "I got the blood of Jesus right here." I'm, damn, that's creepy, man. That's creepy. Sorry, but I'm just saying, you know, you get all these over the years. Been many years. Karen, how long has it been since you veered off the original path you were?
Oh, goodness. 2014. So
Wow.
10 years.
Yeah, that's great.
That's when it all started. You know, I started questioning everything. And then finally, you know, when I came to the realization, no one's coming to save me. I should be my own Messiah and save myself.
Oh, yeah. And you're a woman.
Right? Like that kind of just changes your outlook on things.
Yeah.
I think in a good way.
Yeah. No. Does your family, I'm not trying to get too personal, but is it hard to deal with your family, or do they all believe like you?
No, I just keep my mouth shut for the most part. My sister and her husband and nephews, they, you know, are kind of on a similar path. You know, and my children know what they're supposed to do. And, you know, I've helped them, you know, kind of see the fallacy in things. But then I've, you know, taught them also to not be pointing out everybody else's errors. Let them find their own errors. You know, you have to come to you have to come to it yourself. Because if I were, you know, 15 years ago and somebody would have come and started talking to me about this stuff, I would have told them to, you know, you're crazy.
Yes. No, I know. As Ross and I were talking the other day, if someone came up with this Moses scroll thing like 10 years ago, we'd be like, what are you drinking?
Yeah. Right.
And you know, and there's a time when things are revealed to us, there's a time. And you know, it takes an effort on our part to go looking and digging and, you know, making up our minds about things. And it's tough because it's an effort. And let me just go back to one of the things I always think about. You know, my grandmother, she was a Catholic and happy being a Catholic, and she didn't question anything. And how would you judge her? I mean, she was a good Catholic. I like, wait, you're gonna start reading the Bible? They were when she was born, my grandfather was born in 1893. They only spoke in Latin in the Mass, you know, and you know, even though he could speak Italian, you know, he didn't know what they were saying, and it was the wool is pulled over our eyes for a long time. And so is this, the Protestant Revolution, Zigueli, Martin Luther, as those people started asking questions, you know, it kept going, this void, until it got to, you know, where we're at with, I think it ended with Ross Nichols, but, but I'm just saying, my point at the end is that, we're privileged. I mean, there were times if we read this book and had this discussion and they caught us, they would kill us, you know? I mean, and I feel very privileged and grateful that I can go and read any of these books, and
So,
I can have,
Peggy Sanders says, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And Terry says,
Mhm.
we are drawn to our true self. We know the truth. We have just forgotten. The heart
Yeah.
knows. And I think that,
Yeah.
there's a lot of truth to that we have forgotten.
yeah,
And, we're beginning to remember.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree, Patty. That's been kind of like a thing throughout my journey is, I'm not being told anything new. I'm just being reminded of things that I've forgotten.
yeah, yeah.
Right. And Terry says that the rituals create comfort and can be mastered, but growing in faith is unknown and uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Right.
And I think people are afraid to get out of their comfort zone.
they are.
I mean, it used to you would get killed for questioning, but now people are just so comfortable in their traditions.
They don't want to know.
Right.
Lord, I want to change, but not right now. I'm having too much fun.
Right.
and
Yeah. And to Eric, a little genealogy point. I am a descendant of King James Stewart, from the King James Bible.
are you?
Yeah. Jameson is from King James' son, so it's
Oh, yeah.
actually a Stewart offshoot of the Stewart clan.
It's whiskey too, isn't it, Jameson? No, I'm sorry.
And
It's a whiskey.
Are you
Yes, it
related to Jamesons in Iowa?
I don't know, probably.
Oh,
They're all
probably.
from Scotland, from the Stewart clan.
Okay. I have a friend that's a Jameson.
Yeah, and they're from one of the sons of King James took on this surname, James' son.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Oh yeah, like Bar
Yeah.
Al.
Yeah, right.
My friend Alex Bar Al. I said, so you're the son of God? Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's a great thing. And like I said at the end, or that we all came here from different places, and we learn from everybody speaking.
Mhm. And Charles Sutton brings up a good point. He
Yeah.
says not to be super critical of others' beliefs, seeing as he can remember believing the same things not too long ago.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's to be kind of accepting and
Right.
patient with people
Yes.
and not judgmental.
No, I fully agree with that one.
Mhm. That's a good point, Charles. Thank you.
The issue is there's a rocket alerts, David Connolly saying.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I think
Into our south?
no, between Tel Aviv and Netanya. Oh, okay. I can't. My eyes. I'm old. Yeah. So I agree, and the fact that I'm very happy. I'm very glad to see so many women in this group
Me
talk
too.
so intelligently and bring up ideas, because in this church thing there was always this just
Sit in the back.
sit and don't talk anything, and I think it's important because the way women and men see things are very different, and there's knowledge that comes from both. It's not just one way. Usually Patty comes up with the crazy ideas, and I trim them down for the general populace.
Yeah, he has some crazy ideas.
Yeah, no, but we talk about all kinds of
Oh, we're a
ideas.
team like that.
Yeah, and there's just a different way of thinking, and it's just I can't explain it. It's the way we were made, male and female, as Ross just read in Genesis. So, anyways, at the end of the day, I'm glad that you chimed in, and it's always good to know you, Karen, and you bring so much intelligence and wisdom.
Yes, thank you,
We
Karen.
really appreciate you having you around.
Well, it's good to be here. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
And thank you.
Yes. Good old. Someone just asked Nikita. I was looking for that. Nikita said something about since we're studying the flood this week, what does anyone think the cause was? I know it was sin, but does anyone want to talk about what led up to it?
Global warming?
No, stop.
Sorry.
No, stop. Water, Ross says water. I would say a few things. Don't get angry. I don't think it was the whole world. I think it was the area where these people lived, and it was a pretty big area. But there are flood stories from Indonesia and Malaysia too. So
Ross brought up at the in the Torah Pearls last night.
Yeah.
There's many other traditions of
Yeah.
flood story
Yeah.
that are out there that are similar.
Yeah. But I want to say this, what led up to it? I think when things get so bad, when the sins reach up to heaven,
The earth, does a reset.
Yeah, it's well, I think God did the reset on
Right,
humanity. He was so angry with the way people dismissed him, and was looking for, Noah had to be quite a person. He's really special. And even he had his problems, so it makes me feel good. I always liked being named after David because he was such a foul person, and God loved him. So, like me, but I don't know if God loves me like that. But I'm just saying, it makes me feel like there's a chance.
Yeah. Right.
And I wanted to say that I think things got so bad that he's like, let's start over again. And remember,
also with the Nephilim on the earth and all that,
right? And remember that Moses had to remind God, hey, you made a promise. He wanted to wipe them all out, and he made a promise.
Yes.
And so, hey, Nikita wants to speak again. Let's see if we can get her up there. Hey, Nikita.
Can you hear me, dear?
Yes, I can hear you, Nikita.
Dave, I think we're disjoined Siamese twins or something. I wanted to hear your response to that.
Okay.
And you pretty much said what I was expecting you to say. I believe you and Ross got cameras in my house. That's not cool, dude. That's not cool. If you go a couple of verses, the beginning of chapter 6,
yes,
where the Most High says that these people took the wives of these people and they slept these cross breedings or whatever.
Yeah.
Most High had an original plan of marriage.
Yes.
Okay. He had an original plan. And, I told you I was writing a study for the 10 Commandments of Creation.
Yes.
And it really hit me in the face that when I got to number 7, thou shalt not commit adultery. And it goes so well so if the original plan was for each man and woman to marry and be with, make a family with the spouse that he gave them.
Yes.
When they did not accept that spouse, that was a direct rejection of the will of the Most High.
Yeah.
So we got Adam and Eve, and the Most High split Adam, and now you got a marriage. He split them apart to be married together.
Right.
To raise this family, right?
Yes.
So when they stopped taking the mate that was split from them, the bone of their bone and the flesh of their flesh, and started going after other women, that was a direct rejection of the Most High's will.
Yeah.
And it was a breakdown of the family. When the family breaks down, society breaks down, because now everybody's doing what they will to do, not the Most High's will.
Yes.
So we're seeing complete chaos. Everything had reverted back to the darkness that the Most High had destroyed by giving them the revelation of light.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Nikita, it's happening today more than ever, where people just don't take those vows to mean anything. And as everyone knows that's been married, or even if they've been divorced, marriage isn't an easy thing. You have to work at it. And there's always some issue that's trying to, cause you to have problems. And you have to really fight for that marriage and remember the commitment that you made before the Most High. People don't even do that anymore, but Patty and I did. We have a third being in our marriage, the Most High, and so
I agree. He's the first, because if you take him into consideration in everything that you do, you won't do anything that's going to cause him grief, which would cause your
Exactly.
mate to suffer.
Yes. Yes.
But you can only control your mind. If the other
Yes.
person does not want to be with you that
Right.
way, or they decide that this is not what they want anymore, there's
Right.
nothing you can do about that. And the Most High
No.
understands that. You know,
No, I know. And
it was just the thought that right before he talks about the flood, that's what I love about him. I love him so much. He gives us everything we need in order to understand him. The Most High does. Because right before he talks about the flood, that's what he discusses.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to bring that up.
yeah. Yeah.
But he's
And I
saying
think
that these breakdowns in relationships broke down the society that he built or that he wanted to build, but man refused.
yes.
Mhm.
Yes, I agree with that. And it's anyway but God's ways the way these people are, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's when I first started doing the Shabbat with Patty, I didn't realize that the benefits would come, but they came hot and heavy in the sense of all of a sudden I had clearer vision in the whole world and the way things were going. My world didn't spin around without a stopping. It said, stop here. It's a Sabbath. And it's a reference point and it's a calibration for the next week. And I realized that I was in tune with what the Creator, the Most High, wanted was. And to me, that's a beautiful thing. Secondly, when you read the 10 Commandments, that's a good way to have a society, right? I mean, respecting your parents, not stealing, not committing adultery, not bearing false witness, all those things. Yeah, and the one that you brought up about the coveting, coveting means, hey, God, you didn't give me enough. I want more. Well, wait a minute. What about what you have? It's a great thing. It feel appreciative of what you have. In upstate New York, it's getting that time of the year where it was already been snow flurries. And if you didn't have a house to live in with a heater and running water and a running toilet, and people didn't have that 100 years ago, no question. In fact, my grandparents that lived about 8 miles north of me here, they had an outdoor toilet. You went there and you looked. You hope you found the soft pages of the Sears catalog, and they didn't want anything else. We put an indoor toilet in them, and my grandmother thought that was the best thing you could possibly have in your house is an indoor toilet.
I'm sure it was, especially in January.
Yeah, and it was, but I'm just, and they had a coal furnace, and you have to go and shovel coal, and if you didn't shovel it, it gets to it not much, but it has gotten to 40 below zero here.
We have a lot to be grateful for.
We have a lot to be grateful for. And that you can go to a store and buy food. Come on, there's places when you go around, the slick pages were not very effective. No, they weren't. David Conley. But the point is that we have fresh produce. There's a farmer's market. You can go buy locally grown vegetables, and whatever else you want. We have local dairies, and all these people bring this to us. And I worked on a dairy farm, as an employee. Well, they gave me quarters, but the issue is the work is so hard to work on a dairy farm. It's milking twice a day. It's cleaning the gutters. It's making sure that the cows have food. Blah 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 blah. It goes on and on and on, and it never stops. There's no vacation for those people. That's something they just didn't even think of it. Around here, the farmers, when they want a vacation, they sell all the cows and they go for 3 months to like Alaska or something. And then they come back and buy all new cows and start over again. That's how they do vacation. And the amount of work that you have to do to keep a barn clean, oof, I won't even go into it. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot by working on a farm. And it is.
is, and when we were talking about the adultery part, what you were saying
Yeah.
about coveting, and you're like, well,
Yeah.
you don't like what you already have, and you
Right.
like the person that's been with you.
Right.
Hopefully, they've been what you've needed, and you're like, nah, I want something. So I want someone who's never done anything for me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
when
like,
you get them, you find out. You
yeah.
should have left well enough alone. But anyway,
Yeah. That's not what happens though.
No.
With people, the heart also can lead us astray. So it's not always telling you to do the right things. I remember we were in Israel once, and there was a woman going around trying to pick up men from our group, and Ross said to me, "If you touch that girl, God will probably strike you dead right here in Israel." And she had a little problem. We won't go into that, but it was just a strange thing to have this girl come around and say, who's here to do this and that, and she went and tried picking up this guy that was wheelchair ridden, and he told her to go to hell, and it was just a strange thing, but it is true. I think that when you know enough. Too much is given, much is required, right? When you know enough, you know even more the sin that you're getting into when you get into sin, and it's hard. It's hard not to, it's hard not to, like. I've met a lot of famous people, in my life because of what I do, and it's hard not to just like get all, if there's someone you like. We
were just in New York City, and we went to the top of the Statue of Liberty. Was it the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah, no. It was the Empire State Building.
Empire State Building, and Elizabeth Hurley was up there.
Yeah.
And that's just one of Dave's favorite.
Yeah, and I just went in there and I walked away, blah, 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 blah. She was there for breast cancer, and she's 59, and and she was dressed to the hilts in a pink.
Glamorous.
Yeah, but you realize, why do you even think like that? And that's with a lot of people. I want a better car. Really? Why do you look? Why do you look at that as your goal in life? Grabbing for the brass knob handle.
If you're doing good on the earth and you're doing good work, those are just byproducts. That stuff will come, but your focus should be on like doing God's will and doing good work and being a good
following
person.
the 10. We have a beautiful home, but when we're in Israel in the little hut that we have in Blossoming Rose, and it's tilted and you sleep like this, and it's horrible. The bathroom's horrible, all that. But we love being there.
Yeah, we like it.
We are just so grateful to be able to spend time there at Blossoming Rose, or Iravot, if you want to go to the Book of Numbers, is where our son was buried and my parents. But the point is that we love being there, and that's on the way up from Paran, where it said the Most High carried the fire law in his hands.
Yeah. So and we try to get there at least once a year.
Yeah, we were there this year, and
if anyone's interested in Blossoming Rose,
let us know.
Let us know. We'll send you some info on it. And
if you go and you volunteer, you stay there for free. If you go on your own, it's like $30 a night. It's really it's a beautiful thing. But anyways, I feel that when you look at how bad things must have been for the flood to happen, to kind of hook back into things must have been real bad. And when you kind of eviscerate all of the Most High's rules and you're not following any of them, it's like.
But also this Nephilim, and there were giants on the earth.
Right. It is. It became corrupted. And, and I'm sure that Ross will be talking about this tomorrow in his talk, because he always does such a great job. And there's a Zoom after, so if those people want to talk. So I'm just saying, if when you're watching Ross tomorrow, try to keep a focus on the class. These people here do. But I'm just saying
There's just a couple out
there's
there.
people
who
that just want to go off on these tangents.
Yeah.
And the tangents can be addressed in the Zoom. And so JJ said maybe we should talk. He would like to do the Proverbs. So I'm going to throw that out to y'all. Is maybe we'll read a chapter of proverb at a time.
That's a good idea.
Ross is talking about 2 flood stories. Get the documents I uploaded on Yakad Home. So that's there. Ross is saying, and thank you all for coming.
Hey, this.
There she is. There she is.
This right there.
Right there. It's a Sasha. Sasha. Look, she's got 2 different color eyes. Sasha. You know what Sasha is short for
What?
in Russia?
Sasha Maru?
No, Alexander.
Oh.
Yes, Alexandria. Yes, you're gorgeous. She's what? Is it raining out?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So next week we'll be from San Diego, California, but we're still going to go on the same. I mean, it'll be 8:00 Eastern, and then we're going to maybe read a proverb.
That would be
JJ said he
great.
liked that idea.
Okay.
and maybe a
start at the
proverb.
beginning?
Yeah, and then go around and everyone can take some turns reading.
Sure.
So, well, if you want, just give us this again. Shabbat Shalom. And I'm going to read this prayer on the way out, which we like to always do. And thank all of you for coming. God bless you. From the book of Numbers. May Jehovah bless you and keep you. May Jehovah make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. Jehovah turn his face towards you and give you peace.
There's
Amen.
that word again, grace, Ken.
Yeah,
It is Ken.
yeah. So thank